Off to the movies now, and they were original supermodels. Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Christie Turlington, and now, look at all the names, and now a new documentary is helping to shine a light on their iconic careers.
You loved this. You love this. I've actually watched this last night. I binged 4 episodes in one.
4?
Well, there are only 4. But it was a real trip down memory lane, but there were a lot of insights with this that I was a little bit, you know, some disturbing sort of realities when you see it back in the context now of 2023, you know, that these women had it a little bit tough at times because we write them off as just having it all easy, these genetically blessed 4, don't we?
Is that why I'm joining you now?
Yeah, my career as a supermodel never really took off, but Tash, did you consider it for a time?
Yeah, no. No, this is fascinating. I'm the same as Sal. Binge this. This is on Apple. It's called The Supermodels. 4-part series, and fantastic because these supermodels were the soundtrack to our lives growing up in the 80s and 90s. They were the first supermodels that actually became influencers. So they were models on the catwalk, and then, of course, their whole lives changed when George Michael asked the 4 of them to join him for his infamous video clip called Freedom. Take a look at this.
We get this phone call that George Michael wants to shoot us in his video.
We made a decision. I will do it. I'm going to do it. Yes, okay, I'll do it. Everything changed.
You can start to call the shots and be an active participant in your career.
All of a sudden, we were the physical representations of power.
I wanted to go further. I wanted to push the envelope.
They brought their artistry to the image.
They would see things we didn't necessarily see.
They're like the Mona Lisa, the face of her era. They're larger than life.
What was revealing about this, the models went into details about addiction issues, the pressure they felt to stay incredibly thin, and how often they weren't respected by certain people when they started to have a voice and wanted control over how they wanted to manage their careers moving forward as ambassadors. It was a fascinating insight, and the fact that they still remain really great friends today. They got together in this series for an infamous photo in their 50s. It was revealing and fantastic.
And that pressure on them was immense, wasn't it?
And
Because you don't often consider it.
So young.
You know, when you look, we all knew their faces, and I think that was the biggest reveal for me, because now you see, actually, they were just really young girls thrust into a world that at times was really dangerous, and we know, you know, now down the track that, you know, the conditions were terrible, and they were often working with people who had predatory behaviour.
Yeah, lots of revelations about interesting relationships. Linda talks about her previous ex-husband, and also Cindy talks today, of course, her daughter is a famous supermodel now, or model, and she talks about the fact that when she looks back going to these foreign countries by themselves at 15 and 16, they would have treated it very differently today.
And how the industry's changed
dramatically.
Now as well.
They were the first influencers before Instagram, and how powerful magazines were back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s in, you know, making people multimillionaires as well.
And moving on now, Jane Fonda and Annie Murphy are starring in a new animated film.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at this. This is fascinating.
So, what's up? Chelsea, about last night, I am sorry that I ran...
Apologies are so corny. Just skip to the part where you tell me everything. Look, you were here on land one day, and you already fit in. I've been here all of my life, and I still feel like a freak. I just want to be Ruby Gillman, normal teenager. Ugh, boo. Where's the fun in that? Ruby, you're a giant Kraken. Don't you think you could aim a little bit higher than normal teenager?
A really emotional roller coaster into what it is like as a 16-year-old growing up in the interesting teenage years, but you will love it. Great one for the family, great one if you've got teenagers. It is going to be on Netflix. Do not miss it. It will be released really full. And Jane Fonda is fantastic.
Yes,
she's
I would watch
excellent.
her even or listen to her in anything.
Thanks,
she
Tash.
is the best.